Alrighty, welcome everybody. I am early tonight because I had something that I had to do. Actually, I usually bowl on Friday nights, but my grandkids, 3 of them, are in a Sound of Music presentation on Friday, so we ended up having to bowl tonight, so I had to go a little early so I could not make my bowling team bowl till midnight. So, trying to be nice. Anyway, hope most of you can be with me. If you are new to my channel, my name is Julie Brown. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. Just so you know, if you want to let me know you're here, you can type in comments and say hello. Also, if you have any questions, type those in comments. Now, some of you might be watching on my YouTube channel, which is Julie Brown Julie's Creative Stamping. Again, if you type in comments, I will see them and I will answer any questions that you might have. If you are watching this on YouTube, I do have a list of supplies listed in the comments. And for those of you that are watching on Facebook, I am trying to get all that worked so that it works on, that I can put those on Facebook at a later time. Anyway, so welcome. Let's take care of some housekeeping really quick. So for those of you that will be ordering with me this month, there's my hostess code, and you can order through me at juliebrown.stampinup.net. My email is juliescreativestampin without the G at gmail.com. Everything else has the G. My Instagram, my Pinterest, my Facebook is all Julie's Creative Stamping. And then, like I said before, my YouTube channel is Julie's Creative Stamping. I do have a new blog, juliescreativestamping.com. I am still working on this thing. It is kicking my tail, ladies. So, hey, Mel. So anyway, it will be up and running soon. But just so you know, that is coming. Alrighty, let's get that out of the way. And, oh, I guess I'm like halfway got myself cut off. That was great, right? You guys got to only see like forehead down. Alrighty, so let's talk about what we're looking at today. We are going to be using, this is called the Gingham Cottage Suite. It is one of the biggest suites, mainly paper-wise. There is so much paper that comes with this suite. But the reason I like this suite is because of the versatility. You can do, and I'm going to show you a Christmas card, a Halloween card, and a fall card tonight, all with the same suite. I am bringing in a couple other sentiment stamps, but hopefully all of us have sentiment stamps that we can bring in for that. So let's get started and let's look at what is part of this suite. Let me move that out of the way. So it comes with this really cool stamp set. Now, it is a distinctive stamp set, and I'm going to explain that in just a second when I start stamping. What that means is that the stamps have been designed with basically curves, and anyway, when they cut the design into the stamps, it puts the automatic highlights and lowlights in the stamps. Oh, sorry, let me take a drink. I hate that when something goes down the wrong pipe. Then it's got this really fun, and I don't know if you guys can see, but this has like glitter in it. Let me see if I put my hand up there. Can you guys see the shiny? It's got like silver thread throughout this. And this is the threaded twine. And then it comes with, oh my gosh, guys, the dies there's so many dies in this set. And then it comes with our new pearlized enamel basics is part of this suite as well. And I'm going to show you how to use those tonight. But let's look at, guys, I'm going to just turn this sideways. Look at the amount of paper that is in this. I believe it is 48 sheets of paper. And it is all gingham based, but it has like different designs, different colors throughout. And anyone, I mean, this paper, guys, you can use this for just about any card that you could possibly be working on. The gingham style is just a really cool design. And then look at this one. This kind of has triangles on it. And then here's some in the greens, more blacks, blushing bride. Yeah, guys, tons of paper in this suite. Oops, I knocked one of my dies off. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way so that we can get started, because I've got 3 stamps to show you. And of course, I am starting with simple stamping, and that's going to be our Christmas card, believe it or not. So let me bring in what I'm going to be using. So obviously I'm starting with a piece of basic white, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in, now you have 2 options. You can either use a silicone mat, or you can use I forget what this is called. It's like, it's it's like the punch or the stick. It's like what we used to put things on it when we were putting brads and stuff in. And I won't get the name to this. I'm so sorry. It just left my head just now. So anyway, that's one of the mats. And the reason why you want something underneath it is because we're using the polymer stamps, which are our clear stamps, and you will get a better image if you use either something that's just kind of has a little bit of give to it underneath. And then I'm going to show you a secret about these stamps a little bit later, and the dies. So we're going to be bringing in soft succulent. So for this card, I'm going to be using soft succulent, evening evergreen, crumb cake, and cherry cobbler are my colors. All right, so I am going to just bring this in, ink it up with the soft succulent, and then place this where I want it. All right, now let me show you what I talk about with distinctive stamps. Can you guys see how it already made some of it lighter and some of it darker? That is what is so cool about the distinctive stamps, is it puts that shading in it. And it doesn't take much to make fabulous cards with these. All right, so now I am just going to move this up, and we're going to just bring in right there, bring it in on this side, bring it in up here, and then bring it in right here. All right, then what we're going to do is clean that. You guys know I like to clean my stamps as I go. It's just really important. You can already see that these have been stained because I've used the red ink. Anytime you use red ink or any ink that has a red dye in it, it is going to stain your stamps. But as you can see, I just stamped with green and none of that red came through. So just so that you know, that's how that works. Okay, so our next color is going to be crumb cake. And for this one, and this is just kind of a really light shading, but I'm going to use this really fun, it's more like a twig as far as like a wreath. And I will bring it closer in just a second so you can see it. So see what it's stamped? Can you see that? So it's just kind of like a little twig over the top of that. It kind of reminded me of when I was a kid and I used to try to make little, like for Renaissance fairs and stuff, I used to try to make those little twig crowns. This is what this stamp reminds me of. All right, so I did that on all of them so that you guys can see that. Looks like it's just us, Mel. That's what happens when I come in too early, right? Everybody is still working and not prepared for me to be on early tonight. Okay, so the next one that we're going to be bringing in, and we're going to use the evening evergreen for this one, is actually, I think, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the bow first because I want a bow on here. We have this bow stamp, and you can definitely tell I've used red on this one. And you're going to have to stamp this twice. Now, if you have a Stamparatus, you might want to use that to do the stamp over. I was able to get it lined up okay without it, but of course now that I'm on camera it probably won't work as good for me. So what I did was I stamped it the first time and I wasn't happy with that. I wanted it a little bit darker, so then I inked it up again, and then I just laid it down from the bottom and then just kind of rolled it on there. So that allowed me to stamp it again and get a darker bow. So that's how I'm able to line it up without the Stamparatus. Was I lined up the bottom part of that bow and then I just laid it down. So oh, are you hearing the squeaking? Squeak, squeak, squeak. All right. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we are going to be bringing in, it's got these little pine leaves. I guess I should be showing you on here. So I've used this one and this one. Now I'm going to use these little pine leaves. Oh, and I've used the bow. So now I'm going to come in with the pine leaves. And I'm using Evening Evergreen. So that's the darker green. And again, I'm just going around the wreath. Like so. And then I'm just going to do that on every single wreath. And I'm not too concerned about, you know, obviously I'm stamping part of this off. Now I do want to show you, this is getting really dirty on the back, and that's because I probably should flip that over because there's ink on there from when I was stamping off. So that's kind of a cautionary thing. If you're, if this was like my card base, I definitely would not want to be laying it down on this because it's going to have ink where I'm stamping off. Okay, so there we are so far. Let me see if I can get you guys in a little bit closer so you can actually see what I'm doing. I've got to kind of move some stuff around here so I can push my paper up and then I can bring you in. There we go. I think that's a better view of what I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to clean that stamp that I just used, which is they're like pine leaves. And then it also has this really fun little, it's like the berries. Oh, let me get it over here. Little berries. And again, I'm just going to touch. And then I'm going to just kind of set these berries. And I'm being really light-handed when I touch it to the ink pad because I don't want it to get all around the corners. When I go fast, which is sometimes what I do in these videos, I sometimes tend to like rock my hand when I'm doing this, and that can cause it to get that ink where I don't want it. All right, so I'm just gonna take these berries, and again, I'm just touching really light, but you can kind of see I'm getting a little line right here because I'm tending to lean in. It is a cool stamp, isn't it? I love this set. So this is just the little berries. And I've got a fly bugging me once again while I'm trying to do a video. It is hilarious. I have been down here all day long and no fly. And as soon as I turn on the video to do the video, here we go. Oh, you know what? It might help if I turn my lights on. Then you guys might be able to see a little bit better. Okay, so again, we're just stamping. I was trying to go a little bit too fast, and I can see that I'm getting that red ring around there. Okay, so now that I've got those berries on there, what I want to do is I'm going to come back in with that pine leaf and with the Evening Evergreen. I'm going to go ahead and move this now so that I don't get ink everywhere. All right, so now I'm going to come in with the pine leaves, and I'm just going to, ooh, I'm glad I caught that. I had my cherry cobbler here, and I put it in cherry cobbler. I'm going to actually, I'll move that one because I'm going to need it in just a second. I need to move the stamp pad that I'm using. Whew, that was close. I'm glad I realized that that looked a little red when I went to lay that down. Okay, so now I'm trying to go too fast. I need to just relax. So now I'm just going to come in with these pine boughs, and I'm just going to move this around. And you guys know that when I do my simple stamping, I actually enjoy the idea of creating what looks like designer series paper. And so when I do that, that's kind of my intention coming into this, is just to try to make this look like it was a piece of designer series paper that was designed for this. And that's kind of the way that I create, so that it does look like that. Now I see a couple places where I kind of want to come in off the edge again, or kind of go off the edge just to make it look a little fuller. This fly needs to die, let me tell you. He is driving me crazy. All right. Okay, so then there's what it looks like when I finish stamping all of that on there. So what are you guys thinking so far, right? It's just, and again, this wreath looks so pretty because it is a distinctive stamp. So now what I want to do is I want to bring in, on this stamp, so we do have a couple sentiments, not a ton, but we do have a few. We have boo, hello, grateful, and Merry Christmas. And then at the bottom, we have some people just make life better. And that's why I was telling you that if you want to make like more Christmas cards or something, that you would need to possibly bring in another stamp set. Okay, so let's see if I can get this straight. So I'm going to take that Merry Christmas and we're going to put that right in the middle. Oh, Mel, I'm so glad you love it. So yeah, isn't it pretty? So again, so when I do simple stamping, that's kind of what I do, is I try to design it so that it looks like designer series paper. Because I know a lot of people that are, you know, they either don't have they don't have the space, or they don't have the funds to buy everything. And so I try to make it so that it is doable for everybody. Okay, so for the inside, what we're going to do is we're going to take those pine boughs again, and we're going to stamp them in this bottom corner. And again, I'm just kind of stamping them wherever. Okay, so they're just going to be down in that corner like so. And then for this one, I am bringing in a stamp set from another stamp set, and it is the Bright, this is in our mini catalog, and it's called, oh, let me go out here a little bit. It's called Brightest Glow, and the reason I like it is because it has a ton of Christmas sentiments. So it was kind of the perfect one for me to pair this up with. But I'm sure for those of you, I mean, if you're just beginning and you're just getting out started, I would always make sure that you purchase a good Christmas sentiment stamp set, because you'll use it a lot. So when I do sentiment stamp sets, I buy birthday sentiments, thank you sentiments, Christmas sentiments, and then I've built up with like sympathy and other things that I would use. So that's just something that I always try to make sure I have in my stash. Sorry, I'm scooting this down so I can try to make sure I get this straight. Okay, so it says all is merry and bright. And again, that's from the Brightest Glow stamp set. But yeah, so I try to get me a good selection of sentiment stamp sets. That way, no matter what I'm trying to make, I have what I need. And then it's just a bonus when your stamp sets come with sentiments that go along with them, right? Okay, so this is a piece of cherry cobbler. And we are going to come in here and, okay, so then what I'm going to do is, because I have crumb cake in here, and I know it's hard to see, but I'm going to go ahead and we're going to adhere this onto the crumb cake piece. And I promise you guys, I am trying to get all of these cards that I've been making over the last few months onto my blog so that you guys can get cuts. But if you fall in one of them and you absolutely need to make it, just reach out to me and I can send you a PDF for that. So don't be shy in asking, hey, what are the cuts and how did you do that? All right, so then I'm going to take both of these and we're going to put it on the front of the cherry cobbler piece. All right, and then for the inside, again, we're just going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus. This is my favorite, what we used to call snail adhesive or tape runner adhesive. Oh my goodness, that fly is driving me bonkers. I was hoping they would all be dead by now because it was getting cold. All right, so card 1 is done. What do you think? So this is my simple stamping card using the Cottage Wreaths stamp set. And I did bring in the sentiment from the inside is from the Brightest Glow stamp set. Okay, so beautiful card with just stamping, right? We can do it. All right, let me set that to the side. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take a quick little sidebar here because I want to show you something about these dies before I start the next 2 stamps. So if you look at these 2 dies, which are the outline dies, you're going to see a little notch up here. And this coordinates with, now of course I don't have my stamp sets in here, but if you'll notice, there's a little notch on the inside of the case. Now what I did was I had my stamp set in here, right? It would be the other way. So I had my stamp set in here, and before I took it out, I took a Sharpie marker and I put a little dot where this notch is. And that's always going to teach me that that's up, okay? Same thing with this one. I've put a little dot right there, and that coordinated with this little arrow down here. So why is that important? Well, it's important because when you stamp, so let me just bring this in and we're just gonna stamp. Let's just use Mary Merlot because I just want you to see how pretty this distinctive stamp set is. So I'm gonna ink it up. Now I can see my black dot, right? And I'm going to make sure that that's up. Isn't that pretty? Look how pretty. I love this stamp set. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the same thing with this. I'm just going to use the same color because it would be, and I don't know if you guys can see, but that one's got a tiny little dot right there. And again, I am going to face it so that it is at the top of my page. Now, why is this important? Because when you go to use these dies that have those little notches in it, those notches coordinate with the little dots that I put on my stamp. And so I'm not going to cut these out, or maybe I will just to show you guys. But so now I know I can bring this one in. There's the little notch. I can turn that around. And it's so much easier for me to line this up. Sorry, I'm going to bring in a Post-it note to hold it in place, right? Because I knew that I put my stamp so that that dot was at the top. Instead of, have you guys ever like gotten dies like this and you're always having to turn, always having to turn? Now, unfortunately, I think I stamped these too close, so I can't cut these out at the same time. But this is the same thing, right? I'm going to be able to put this down and know exactly where to line this up because that's going to coordinate with the dot that was on that stamp. So, but I can't cut these out at the same time. But I am going to cut this one out and just show you. I mean, wasn't that ingenious for the lineup? Any of you that have spent some time trying to line up anything, like a flower or something like that, it's really hard to do that. And so this was just wonderful that Stampin' Up decided to give us those guides. So now I'm going to put this through. This is not going to be part of my card, but I'm just showing you how what I did based on that little arrow that was in the stamp set. And I just, like I showed you, I just used a permanent Sharpie marker, and that way it helped me line it up. So poof, it cuts out perfectly. Yay! right? One less thing to worry about, because can you imagine how hard that would be to try to line that up without that guide? It would be hard. For those of you that are new at die cutting, it would be hard, trust me. For those of you that have done it before, you understand what I'm talking about. All right, so now that I got that out of the way, because I just wanted to show you that little trick, let me get a clean slate here. And now we're going to work on our other card. So this one is going to be our Halloween card. And so remember how I do the simple stamping. So now I'm going to be working on my casual stamping. And so what that means is I'm going to bring in some paper. I'm going to possibly bring in some ribbon. We're just going to be adding a few things to this card. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in that Gingham Cottage paper, and I want to use the triangle side. And we're going to stick this on here. So when we go to casual, we're stepping it up a bit and we're adding a few things, but it's still not overly complicated. You'll understand the difference when I show you my autumn card. Okay, so we're going to lay that down. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this piece of Whisper White, Basic White. And, oh, let's get all the colors I don't need out of my way. And I'm going to need some Gorgeous Grape, because we're going to do the wreath in Gorgeous Grape for this one. If I can find what I did with the wreath. Oh my. Okay, how can I lose that big of a stamp set? Did I set it down somewhere? Oh boy. Oh, you know what? I think I know what might have happened. Nope. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I have lost that stamp. Did I knock it on the floor? If you guys see it, yell at me. Say, hey, it's right there in front of you. Which has happened before. Oh my gosh, I like literally just used it. Wow. Oh, there it is. Oh my goodness. So now, because I'm not cutting this out, I don't have to worry about where that dot is. You only want to be concerned about that dot when you're fixing to cut it out. So now I can put this any way I want on here. All right, so I'm going to do that one in Gorgeous Grape. And then I'm going to come in with, let me clean that one, sorry. Isn't that funny? How many times have you guys done that where you're working and you know you just had something? I mean, literally just had it, and then it's, and it really was right in front of my face, literally, to the right. Right in front of my face. All right. So now I'm just going to go come right over the top of that with the black so that it looks like this. And we're going to clean that one. Then what I'm going to do is come in with the little, and these are all stamp sets from this Cottage Wreaths. So I'm going to come in with my little black spider. Get this straight so that I stamp this spider straight. And let's make the spider go up and unset it down. So I'm going to stamp the spider right there. And then I'm going to come in with my Stampin' Up basic black marker, and I'm going to use the pen tip, and I'm just going to draw in the spider's web, like going up into the wreath. Then I am going to bring in my Stampin' Seal Mini, and we're going to grab this. So there's two bows in this set. There's a detailed bow And then there's a bow that cuts out the one that you stamp. I'm going to use the detailed bow. And let me grab a piece of scrap black. Looks like it's just you and me tonight, Mel, unless other people are here and they're just not saying anything. I was afraid of that coming on early. So we're just going to run that through the Stampin' Seal, the mini Stampin' Seal cut emboss machine. And I'm going to show you this close up in just a second. Let me just get all this out of the way. All right. So look how pretty that is. Can you guys see the detail in that? Isn't that cool? So, so pretty. So I'm going to come in with this, and I'm just going to come in with some liquid glue. Maybe. And you always know I don't use a ton. So then I'm going to just flip this over, and we're going to stick that right on the top, kind of centering it on the spider down there. And then I'm going to come in with the little sentiment from that stamp set. Same stamp set, Cottage Wreath stamp set, that says Boo. And it's going to go right like that. And then, let me clean this. I think I cleaned the spider. Hopefully I did. I'll find out later if I didn't. So then I'm going to attach this to a piece of Gorgeous Grape. And again, this is what we call casual stamping, because I'm not just stamping. I brought in, I brought in a die. I brought in some designer series paper. And then instead of a ribbon, I'm going to bring in the washi tape that we have in our mini catalog, because I'm in love with it. So we're going to bring that in. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this straight. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in, so this comes in 4 colors. I don't think I have the pumpkin pie over here. Oh, here. So this washi tape comes in all 4 of these colors. I have somehow knocked my screen. Okay, so but I'm going to use the black. It's this glimmer, and it's really, really pretty. It is a little difficult to find the edge, though, because it really lays down straight, right back straight. So what I'm going to do, and this is another time, so I'm going to bring in another silicone mat, because this is a really good time to bring in your silicone mats, because you can just kind of overlay this like so. And get it straight. Now, washi tape is really easy to pull back up. So you can really take the time to make sure that it's straight, and mine is not straight at all, but I do want it to be kind of more where this one is. So I'm going to pull it from this side. And you could use a ruler, like lay a ruler down and then lay this right up next to the ruler. That would probably be a lot easier than me trying to eyeball this tonight. There we go. Okay, so the nice thing about this silicone mat was it allowed me to stick that down and get it nice and straight. All right, so we're going to trim that, and then we're going to trim on this one. Oh, let me just move stuff out of the way. All right. Then what we're going to do is we are going to take this and put it on the front. Then I'm going to finish the inside, because I'm going to bring in those pearl accents, and they are really fun to work with, but they do take time to dry. And I want to do the inside of my card and get that inside before I work with those pearl accents. All right, so again, I'm trying to get this straight. See if I can manage to do that. All right. Not sure if that's quite straight, but okay. So I'm going to set that to the side, and I'm going to just bring in the inside of the card. And so for the inside of the card, I needed a birthday card because I have a daughter-in-law who has, her birthday is on October 31st, and she loves Halloween. So this is going to be her birthday card. I know that might sound weird to some of you guys, but that's what she's all about, Halloween. So again, I'm just going to bring in the spiders down here in this corner. All right. And then I'm going to bring in a birthday sentiment. Remember how earlier I said it's good to have like a, you know, a sentiment one. And this one has happy birthday, thinking of you, just a note. It doesn't have like a saying, but it does have those sentiments. So, you know, I will advise anyone who is getting into card making and stamping that it's always good to have, you know, these sentiments, happy birthday, thinking of you, just a note, thank you. Those cover almost everything. But then you kind of also want some sentiments that will go, that like actually say something, like I just used in that Christmas card. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ink this up with black Memento ink. And let's see if I can get this straight. You hate spiders, but this is cute. Good, I'm glad you, yeah, I don't like spiders either. But I'm glad you're thinking it's cute. Okay, so then I'm going to put that happy birthday up there. Clean that off. And again, normally, you know, birthday's not what you think about when you think about Halloween cards, right? But if you have people whose birthdays are around Halloween, they would probably think it's pretty dang cute to get a birthday Halloween card. Yeah, spiders are not my favorite thing in the world. So I'm just going to mat this with this gorgeous grape. And then more adhesive, and then this is going to go on the inside of the card, and then I'm going to show you these pearlized effects and how cool they are. Okay, so we're just going to lay that in there, hopefully get it straight. All right, so there's the inside, there's the front so far. Now I'm going to bring this in a little closer so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So I am going to grab this one right here. And it says black, but it actually comes out looking silver, which is kind of cool. And the way these work is you're basically just kind of making little buttons or little dots. So I'm just going to squeeze it a little bit. And there's my center one. And then I'm going to come up here. So they end up being just like embellishments. I'm going to show you a trick that I do with them. So after I get them like that, I just kind of like hit my page like that, just to kind of get that point on the top that was up there. It just kind of makes that point go away. And so I'm just going to put two more down here. And I'm going to show you one that I did earlier. So I do kind of like that. And this is just, this isn't what Stampin' Up! Says to do. This is just what I do to get that, I don't know if you guys can see. I just want that pointy edge off the top. And so I just kind of keep shaking it until it kind of settles. Now this is going to have to go to the side to dry, because if you put your finger in it, it's going to smash and get completely messed up. But let me show you like this when it dried. There you go. And now I can touch them and they're hard. They're still a little soft because I did these earlier today. It does take about 24 hours for that to dry. So what do you guys think? Card 2. Yay, right? All right. So now we're going to bring in card 3. And this one is all the bells and whistles. But of course, I've done a lot of the cutting and stuff ahead of time so that this wouldn't be, wouldn't take forever. So for this one, I am going to build the front of the card, but it's not, I've got to wrap the ribbon before I put this on. So I did use the deckled rectangle dies, and then to cut this circle out, I used the stylish shape dies. So just so you know, and that's part of like being more avid, is you're bringing, you know, you have more dies to work with, and or you may have more ribbon, you know, whatever. You just have a lot of, you know, products at your home, and so it allows you to mix and match a little bit more. So I'm going to take that deckled rectangle die, and then this is the gingham, and this, you know, they said pumpkin pie, but this almost, I've kind of felt like it was either close to Calypso Coral and Cajun Craze is the, I think it's closer to that color, because there is another orange that is definitely pumpkin pie. So I'm just going to stick that on there if I can get it to get off of my fingernails. Do you guys like my spooky fingernails? Decided since I'm still in October. So we're just going to kind of lay this down. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little trick for, this is really thick twine, right? And because it's thick, you could make a bow out of it, but it's going to be a thick bow. And so I just decided to tie a knot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of measure this a little bit long, and then I'm going to trim it, and then I'm going to tie my knot ahead of time, and hopefully I've left myself room. I may have to do this again. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie my knot on this end here. Oh, I need a little bit more. And then I'm going to pull it pretty tight. And then what I want to do is I actually want to cut this because I want the knot to be over here. So I'm going to cut it with this side being shorter than the other side. And then do you see how it's, the knot is tied? And now all I have to do is wrap it around the back. So I'm going to lay some adhesive there. And again, I'm going to bring in, I'm trying to find which silicone mat doesn't have the ink on it. So I'm going to bring in my silicone mat because this helps me to get everything where I want it. And I'm not sticking it to paper where it's going to be glued down. Okay, so now I'm going to come in here and we are going to wrap that around that edge and make sure it's stuck on the back side. Then we're going to do the same thing on this side and wrap it around. And because this is so thick, I am going to trim off all excess because of how thick it is so that it looks like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the rest of my Stampin' Seal Plus on here. And I may want to try, let's see if I can get some on that, because I want it to stick down to the card front. And so the card base is actually going to be crumb cake. All right, so now I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to stick this on this card front. Like so. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with the Grateful stamp set, or stamp, and my Mary Merlot ink, and I am going to stamp this right in the center of this circle. Oh my gosh, the fly. I need to get my husband down here with a fly swatter to kill this sucker. All right, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to try to get this as centered as I can, just like so. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be building a wreath. Now this time I used the dies very heavily. I did do some stamping and cutting out with some of the smaller leaves and stuff, because I don't know if you guys can see, but this, again, this die set, it cuts out these detailed, it cuts out those little berries that I put on the first stamp set. That would have cut those out. It's going to cut these leaves that you'll see that I did on this. It cuts the spider out. It cuts the acorn out. It cuts like everything out. Tons of dies, tons of dies. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am actually going to build my wreath, and then we're going to put it on the card front. So this was the die that cut out that, that sample that I showed you. So it was the one that cut out the stamped image, but I just wanted a base, so I just cut it out plain without stamping anything on it. This is the next, so let me show you the dies I used. So I used this die to do this, and then this die here, if I can get them all out of here. So this die is what cut this out, and then this die is what cuts out this piece right here. Whoops, let me get it up there for you. All right, so those are the dies that I used. And again, tons of dies in this set. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to pop this up, and look, I was so smart. I did this ahead of time. But before I do that, and I should have done this, I want to go ahead and I want to fold up, because these leaves actually fold up. And so I want to actually kind of go around and grab the ends of that. I'm just kind of pushing from the back to get those to pop up. And the reason I'm doing this one before I put it all before I'm putting it together is because I'm going to put this other detailed one on top of it. And so it would be, at that point, it would be a little bit harder to grab these leaves and get them to fold up the way I want them to fold up. Gosh. All right, so here we go. So anyway, we're just going to go around and pull those up. Oh, that fly. Can you believe how bold he is? He's like, I guess he wants to be on camera, right? Because it's coming in. I don't know if you guys are seeing it or if I'm getting it swooshed away before, but it's actually coming in and landing on my hand. Here it comes again. See? Oh, you guys can't see it, I don't think. All right. So I wish he would go find someone else to bother. Okay, so basically I just kind of pulled a bunch of those up just to give it more dimension. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to remove, oh, sorry. First, I'm going to actually put this on because I want to make sure that I get this opening where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down first. So let me get that down. I am going to go crazy on this fly when I get done with this video. It's leaving this world. Sorry for all of you that love animals, but this fly is making a nuisance of itself. All right, so let's get all of this paper off of here. All right, I'm going to try one quick thing here, if you guys will bear with me. I'm going to try to grab some peppermint and put a little bit on my hands, and hopefully it'll make the little fly go away. They usually don't like the smell of peppermint, so hopefully that'll make them go away. All right, so now I'm going to take this one, and it's popped up, so it's going to lay on top of that one. So now with this one, I'm going to come in with some liquid glue and bringing in my silicone mat so that I don't get glue all over my workspace. That didn't help. Fly's still bugging me. I was hoping that the smell, usually a lot of bugs do not like the smell of peppermint. So I was kind of hoping that that would deter them a little bit. But this fly's not slowing down. So now we're going to take this one, and it's going to lay, and I'm going to try to kind of offset the leaves a little bit. I don't want them like exactly over the ones beneath it. So let me kind of just, there we go. Well, if it'll stick. Oh, nope, that didn't work. Okay. It's because I have some glue on my hands and it's stuck. Okay, so there's that so far. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to start with, I cut another bow, and this time I did it in crumb cake, and that's going to be the first thing that I put on my wreath. That just makes it easier for me to build around by putting that first. That's just the way I like to do it. You guys might find that you want to throw in all your leaves and stuff first. We want this kind of high so that you can still see the grateful. All right. And then now, and so let me show you what I did. So I cut, and I wanted to show you kind of both ways. So this one, I stamped it on crumb cake with crumb cake. And then this one, I stamped it on white with soft suede. And then here's what the leaves look like. And so all of the dies cut these out. So now we're going to go around and we're going to add leaves first. And so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on these leaves. And I'm just going to kind of stick them where their ends. I'm just trying to make sure that the tips of the leaves are hidden. That's kind of my goal. So sorry, I need to probably pull a bunch of these out so I'm not sitting here digging through them the whole time. So the nice thing is that these leaves kind of angle at two different ways. So see how this one angled to the right and this one angles to the left? I guess I should bring you guys in a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. So now we're just going to bring this in. And I'm going to lift that bow just a little bit so that it hides that edge. And then I did them in, so I have Cajun Craze, and I have Pumpkin Pie, and I have Merry Merlot are the colors that I have. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do a Cajun Craze one. And I know this is kind of, watching me do this, but I don't know any way to make this part go faster. So I'm kind of, I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm kind of, there's like a hole there from that die underneath. And so I'm kind of sticking the end of that leaf up in that hole. So let me bring this closer so you can kind of see the holes that I'm talking about. And so see those holes? So I'm trying to get those inside of those holes is my plan. Okay, so now I need a pumpkin pie on this side. So I'm not exactly following a pattern because I'm not doing like Cajun Craze. So then I'm going to stick that one so that the edge of that goes up underneath and hides. And because I'm using liquid glue, you do have to kind of hold it for just a hot second before you let loose, because then it'll, you can make sure you get a good solid holding, or it's going to glue. But you do, you know, sometimes, like I said, the liquid glue is nice because it gives you a little bit of leeway, but you also have to kind of give it a little bit of dry time. So for this one, I kind of want it more on the inside, so I'm going to kind of go underneath. See if I can get it underneath there. Oh my gosh, that fly. All right, so that's going to sit like right there. Sorry, I knew I had that out of the picture. I apologize for that. I pulled it down close so I could see what I was doing. Okay, so now let me see if I can find, let me just pull all these out because I have tons of these. I'm trying to find the Cajun craze that goes this way. There it is. All right, so we're going to bring this one in. So bear with me, people, as I build this little wreath. And again, so I kind of want this to be hidden, so I'm going to kind of shove it up underneath in that little hole that's right there, and then just hold it for a quick hot second. Okay, and then I am going to bring in, sorry, you got a close-up of the fly that time. So I'm going to bring into, at the bottom of this, I'm going to bring back in a Mary Merlot. And I think I want it to be like right there. Okay. Right, so then next we're going to bring in those little pine cones that are, pine cones, acorns that I showed you. Oh my gosh. And I'm just going to take a couple of these. And I'm just going to kind of stick them to where they're, you know, they're on there. And some of them are going to be on top of the leaves. Some of them are going to be beneath the leaves. I'm not trying to be like exact in what I'm doing here. Even though I know that when you make wreaths, because I've seen some at crafts fairs lately, they're a lot more precise about where they place things. And I'm being a little more out there, I guess you would say. All right, so we're going to just add this one. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to kind of lift this end of this leaf right here. And I'm going to stick that little acorn. Well, maybe. Let me turn it this way. These are little pieces to be messing with, so it does get a little bit more difficult. So we're going to put that one there. I know for those of you that are like, have to have everything exact, this is probably driving you crazy, but just remember you can design yours the way you want it, right? And you can just say, okay, she was crazy. She wasn't making it as exact as I would like it, so I'm going to do mine the way I want it. And that's exactly what you're supposed to do when you're designing. All right, and then I think I'll just put one more down here at the bottom. If I can pick it up. And again, these were the ones that I stamped first, and then I used the die cut to cut it out. So let me just kind of turn this, and I'm kind of going underneath that same little leaf, but kind of moving it to the side so that the leaf shows. Okay, and I think I'm good with that. I have plenty of more leaves that I can do if I want to, but I did want to bring in this other fun leaf cutout. I cut out two of these. Let me see if I can find the other one. And for these, again, I'm just going to bring in that liquid glue. And I'm just adding little pieces, I try not to glob my glue. And I'm just going to kind of hide these edges underneath this twine. But I am trying to get it to sit down. So we're almost done, guys. I'll bring them all back in. I am going to use some of those pearlized effects on this one as well, because I just think it adds a really cool touch. Again, I'm just putting that I'm gonna kind of curve it. Okay, so I'm putting that to where the thread or the twine covers that. And so now this time I'm going to bring in, remember there's red, white, and black in this. And I always tap it down. Those of you that have ever used stickles, it's kind of the same concept. You want to get all the air out before you push that out. Okay, so there's that. And now I'm just going to go up here and I'm going to put one there, one there. And you can touch it a little bit to get it to go down. And then I'm going to come down here to this corner, and this is going to be a little tricky because of the way this thread is laying. And I'm going to put one here, and one down in this corner. I think that thread's going to try to, and then again, I'm just going to kind of shake it and tap it a little bit to get it to get that point off of the edge. All right, so let me bring that closer so you can see what I did. Actually, if I just get it in the screen. Okay, so I put 2 up here, 1 there, and then 3 down here. See how much fun this stuff is? And this is up so that this can dry. And I didn't do the inside. I'll show you the inside of the first card that I did, my sample card, because I've got to let this dry. And so this is what I did on the inside. And I did use that saying that comes with the stamp set that says, some people just make life better. And I did all 3 of the different colored leaves down at the bottom. Alrighty, so let's bring our cards back in and you can see what we did. And remember, this comes with that gingham paper is 48 sheets of double-sided paper. Sorry, I'm trying to get this to go back down, but I think I've got too much glue on my hands. There we go. All right, so this was our simple stamping card. And then this was our casual card. And then this was our avid card. And mainly because it took so many pieces to put this card together. So what do you guys think? Fun stuff, right? So let me bring in the set again. So this is the it's the cottage, or the Gingham Cottage Suite. But this is the stamp set and the dies, and then the cards that I made with the entire suite and everything from the suite. Yay! All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. And for those of you that couldn't get on with me right at 7, or didn't realize I wasn't coming on, or I came on at 6 and not at 7, I hope you enjoyed these, and I hope it taught you a different way of looking at this suite. It is a wonderful suite. I just made a Halloween card, a fall card, and a Christmas card, all with one suite. I mean, wow, right? And there's plenty. You could make these wreaths into birthday wreaths. You could do all sorts of fun things with these wreaths. And again, I just think it's one of the most versatile suites that we have in the mini catalog, and I think you should take a look at it. So anyway, guys, thank you for being here. I'm going to put my information up one more time. So the hostess code for October is right there. And then if you want to order through me, it's through juliebrown.stampinup.net. I would love to be your demonstrator. I know, kill the fly. Is it driving you crazy too, Mel? It's driving me crazy. So that's funny that it's driving you just as crazy. And then there's all my other contact information. So please reach out to me. Let me know what you think of these cards. I'd love to hear from you. And I will kill the fly. So, right? It was driving me crazy, and it's still flying around my face. I'm like, oh my gosh, this fly. And of course, as soon as I end this video, it is going to disappear, right? Anyway, thank you for anyone who was with me tonight, whether you commented or not. Make sure that if you are watching this on YouTube, that you can, don't think that because you're watching the replay that you can't do comments. I love to hear from you guys. And I hope everybody has a good rest of the week. And I am off to bowling. That's why I had to come on early tonight. So again, guys, thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. Make sure you share these videos with everybody that you know. Appreciate you guys being here with me tonight, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.